Central Florida man carried out harassment campaign against gay neighbors.
Here's another look at that suspect, Frank Norviel. Neighbors told us he's caused all kinds of problems around here for quite a few years. And as you mentioned, the love on the door, you can see it's also written on this motorhome right back here. And apparently he has not been showing that, though, to his next door neighbors. In a small neighborhood near Lake Eustis, there is one face that neighbors told us they don't want to see anywhere near them. He harasses everybody?
Everybody.
Alfred actually admitted he has a criminal record himself, but he said Frank Norviel is someone who is constantly causing problems throughout the neighborhood. Norviel was arrested 2 years ago for smashing out neighbors' car windows and was just arrested for aggravated stalking with a hate crime enhancement. Norviel lives in this home with all the warning signs to keep out, masks on the fence, and a motorhome covered in graffiti. But deputies say he was harassing his gay neighbors next door.
A Florida man has been arrested for allegedly harassing a gay couple who lived next to him, even going so far as to menace their children. According to deputies with the Lake County Sheriff's Office, Frank Norviel, 57 of Leesburg, Florida, is accused of harassing his neighbors and their children as part of a months-long campaign, shining lights on them and shouting anti-gay slurs at them while he stood along their fence, dividing their properties, or passed by on a bicycle. Other instances of Norviel's harassment included allegedly screaming "It's not Adam and Steve" at his neighbors while repeatedly squeaking a rubber chicken. Norviel also allegedly threatened one of the couple's children, telling the young boy that he would kill the family cat and eat it with teriyaki sauce. When the boy objected, the man told him to shut up and suggested he perform sex acts on his parents. According to Orlando area CBS affiliate WKMG, the neighbors filed a stalking complaint against Norviel due to that repeated harassment, which they claim was due to their sexual orientation. That led a court to grant 2 temporary injunctions against Norviel, stating that he could not come within 10 feet of the couple's vehicles. But the day after the injunction was granted, Norviel allegedly violated the court order. According to the news website Raw Story, Norviel is currently being held without bail in the lead up to a preliminary hearing. Well, that's quite an interesting story. That's all I can
That's
say.
a Florida man story.
Yes.
Well, the brain trust known as the vile Frank Norviel pulled out that golden oldie, Adam and Steve. That's so original. And now that he's being held without bail, he may get to have his own Adam and Steve experience.
Oh, dear.
That's not enough. He's too stupid to know that it's mole or Thai chili sauce that's the preferred dipping sauce for cats, not teriyaki.
What did the cat do to him? Was the cat gay? Like,
I mean, you need the herbal elements.
You know, this is so gay.
Yeah.
Gay, even as terrible as this story is,
Yeah.
we can find the humor.
We can find the humor, but the reality of it is this is a miserable man, and there's a lot of miserable human beings out there, and it's unfortunate when their misery bleeds into the community, and you know, there's help for people like that, or there's not, and so how do we, when we're fighting constantly as an LGBTQ community, how do we promote acceptance when we can't accept the miserable? So it's about safety, obviously. When you're talking to my kids, I'm going to have a response. And when you're threatening to eat my cat and dip it in teriyaki sauce, I'm going to have a response, okay? When you're harassing me and my family, look, you can keep your misery on that side of the fence and that's fine. But I'm all about standing for acceptance. And that includes those miserable people. But the moment that they step over the fence, that's when we get into the problems.
You know, I completely agree with your summary there. One thing that I would say before we move on is I love the fact that they were holding him without bail, because that is an indication that the judge says there is a clear and present danger here, whether it be mental, whatever it might be. There's a clear and present danger. I wish that that's what would have happened in Colorado Springs. I really don't see a lot of difference in this man, in the threats of what he is doing and what happened in Colorado Springs, because moving this situation to add a gun to it is a very
Oh,
real
it's
world
close, right,
situation.
right.
The other thing that I want to point out that is disturbing to me, and constantly I get the knock, you're just attacking religion. I am not. I am a person of faith and I go to church. So it's not a question of knocking religion. But when he does the slur, it's not Adam and Steve, while I do not forgive him for saying it, I do not make him the culprit of why he is saying it. He has learned this in church. He probably doesn't even go to church. He is probably not really even religious, but he's heard somewhere along the lines of Adam and Eve, and he grew up in a situation where mommy and daddy forced him in a horrible situation of going to where he's at in Leesburg in Central Florida, to a very conservative Southern Baptist or even evangelical church, and it pounded him and pounded him and pounded him, and he remembered Adam and Eve. And so as a result, he makes the slur, it's not Adam and Steve. Okay, perhaps we give him the pass. But the radical religion in America is contributing to situations like this that radicalize people's thoughts about trans, about LGBT, about black people, and about women's reproductive rights. They're all intersected together, flowing out of radical evangelical church. Mr. Norviel, perhaps we can forgive you, but the judge is indicating there's really a dangerous situation going on with you, and perhaps you should be listening to what that judge is telling you.
LGBTQ plus news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Laura are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out Television Network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure the growth of the entire LGBTQ plus community.